honey. It is 12:41 a.m. here in Alabama where I am tired. I just got up from a nap and ready to get back started writing. I'm off camera right now because I look a mess. I have my hair's in a bonnet. You know, I'm tired, child, but this book isn't going to write itself, so we are up to get it done, okay? And if you tuned in last time, where we left off is watching my book review of A Yearn to Discern. And this episode is features Kendra G dating show. And this one is talking about discernment in intimate relationships and let me see. Discernment. Yeah, discerning friendships and intimate relationships featuring Kendra G. So, like I said, if you want to listen to these videos, watch these videos, you can go over to my page on YouTube, the Delores, the pastor's daughter, and go to this playlist. It's called A Yearn to Discern, and you can view all the videos in this playlist. It's 11 videos in this playlist. But let's continue watching together while we work. And as always, let me know in the chat what you are creating. What are you working on? Let me go ahead and type that up, child. Yeah, what are you creating on this evening? Okay. Let me know in the chat so I can hold you accountable. So I can encourage you, send you some great creative energy. And yeah, let's just go ahead and get to work, child. I don't really have too much to say. I'm up. So let's get it done, child. Okay. Don't mind my yawning. I'm going to mute out and then we're going to watch this together. Okay. Let's go. Me, Delores, the pastor's daughter, and this is the Kingdom Code Podcast. You know what? I should be at my sound. Hey y'all. Hey. Okay, look, we're gonna do some reviews. Listen, okay. So it's covered. It's covered. It's covered by copyright. Okay, y'all, we have got to get into it. So if you have been watching me in the mornings, right? When I give you the Dolores's daily dose of discernment, then you know that we have been really digging deep into discernment, right? So what is it? The origins, all the good things, right? So you need to tune in the mornings. I can't give you an exact time because see the way my sleep schedule is set up, child. Okay, I be doing good to come on by 10. My goal actually is to be on by like 7:30. But y'all, for like the past couple of days, it's been like 10:30. Okay. So yeah, but you can catch me in the mornings. We'll be talking about discernment and reading the book, A Yearn to Discern, Finding Purpose and Fulfillment Through Discernment. Okay. And that is by R.L. Mako. Okay. But let me just read to you a couple of snippets of it. Because this morning we were talking, I told you guys that I've done a couple of reviews of Kendra G's single show on my channel before because I really believe that her show is a really good way to really work on your discernment, practice your discernment, really get more sharp with your discernment, right? And because of the questions that she asks and the amount of time that people are on, people will generally tell you enough information, right? Because what we've discovered
when we, have dug deep into discernment, is that the information that you need to make a good decision is already available to you, right? And so here's what the book says, and it's talking about discerning on a regular basis. R.L. Mako says, here is an interesting fact that regular discerners know and understand. In many instances, a person may communicate only one word, one phrase, or even a single gesture, action, or lack thereof that gives us a significant amount of information needed in order to make the right choices for ourselves. Friendships and intimate relationships are perhaps the best opportunities to take note of these brief encounters that give us pertinent information about a person, information which, in turn, tells us how to proceed with the person going forward. Dating is a great way to figure out certain things about people and ourselves in the process. So it says, take a look. Let's take a look at the example. And so for today's example, we are going to be using Kendra G's dating show. Now, let me read to you this other part of the book, right? And this is, if you have the book, it's on page 10 that I'm reading. And if you get the book, it's on page 10 at the last paragraph, going forward into page 11. And it reads like this. So, when it comes to making appropriate choices, the only time obscurity comes into play is when you are not discerning. This means that instead of seeing what is in front of you, you have become more preoccupied with other things that block your ability to see or comprehend what is right under your nose. In fact, the information is only obscure to the extent that one has failed to recognize the information available, or in many instances, specifically chooses to ignore it. But make no mistake about it, discernment does not function on misinformation or unknown information. If there is one misconception about discernment, that must be dispelled. That is it. Okay. So a lot of times people are under the misconception that they cannot make an informed decision or cannot make a wise decision about what to do in their lives because they feel like, okay, well, the information isn't quite there, right? I can't seem to find the information I need. But um, it's not the case, right? With discernment, the information is right there and it's available to you. And this show, the Kendra G show, is an excellent example of that. And I'm so glad that actually the show is out, because it is, if you use it that way as a bit of a case study to really work on your discernment. And if you're single, then this is something that should be able to help you increase your discernment ability so that you know the right person to choose, right? Because where does discernment really where do we seem to really lack discernment, right? It's in our relationships with people, right? Our foundational relationships, like let's say our parents, in our romantic relationships, and our friendships, we tend to we tend to act as if we don't know who we're dealing with, right? Especially if we are someone who believes I need to be in a relationship. I just want somebody. And so you purposely choose to ignore the information that is right there in front of you. And with the Kendra G show, and allowing people to come on a national platform with a specific set of questions, and for the most part, a specific amount of time that they have to share, right? Usually these people will go into a couple of other things, right? So the question that they answer ends up leading them to answer other questions. But either way, they give you enough information that lets you know what you're dealing with. And I came across this video probably, I don't know, it's probably been a year ago now, um, of this guy. and it really stuck out to me. And it's been so long since I've watched it, so it's almost like I'm watching it for the first time. So you're gonna get pretty much a um, a raw review of it. But I remember specifically, I chose this because I was thinking to myself, this man is not even a good father to his daughters. And that is what really stuck out to me, because at the time, I was dealing with all of the stress and the drama of my own father. And so when I came across this guy, I'm thinking, like, there is a certain demographic of males that really are not capable of love. They don't love their children, they don't love their wife, they don't even love themselves. No matter how they even portray to be, they don't love. They are incapable of it. And so that's why I also did the review of Princella the Queenmaker's videos, because this is really a thing. And because it is so rampant, and because it is a problem for so many, we need not get I guess confused, or try to cover up the whole mess by trying to highlight the ones who are capable of, right? Because it's not like the whole of the group is incapable, but the ones who are not capable are so problematic that we have to give it the proper spotlight that it deserves, right? We have to give it the proper attention and the proper awareness that it deserves, because people's lives are at stake, because they are not discerning, right? They're not discerning the person that they are getting involved with. And so my channel, and what I'm attempting to do here, is to really bring awareness to your ability to discern, and really cautioning you, right? To not allow your ability to discern to be clouded by your emotions, or indoctrination, or religion, or this misconception that it's not all. Okay? Because what you need to do really to protect yourself is to assume that it's all, until and unless proven otherwise. And proving otherwise is going to take time, and um it's going to take time, and it's going to take discernment. But in this particular case, right, of this guy on this show, you can know right away, right? This is like a 25-minute video. You know right away if this is someone that you should be in relationship with, okay? So let's go ahead and get into this video.
Hello?
Look what I'm doing. Hey, how you doing?
You ready?
I mean, they call me Cal, and it stands for "Come on with it."
Okay, well, they call me Kendra, and it means get your shit together.
Yo, the irony is that you would say that. How you doing, though?
Good. So, babe, I just need you. Okay. You know what? I'm going to rock with it because I can see you like, oops, child. What's your name, honey?
So already initially he's giving lazy. Okay? He's in the bed. I don't know what time of day this is, but he's already giving lazy. So, which already should stick out to you if you are a discerning individual. This should already stick out to you as a red flag, because he's not even putting any effort, and he's on a national dating show, a single show, and is not necessarily putting his best foot forward, in my opinion, unless this is his best foot, right? And it very well may be. Let's see. Oh God, what is going on with this buffering, Jesus? Oh, y'all, we are not about to deal with this buffering issue. What is going on? It's because it's Kendra G. You know, Kendra G is notorious for having like Wi-Fi issues. So that's what it is, right? Because because we watch it because this is Kendra G. We are totally having Wi-Fi issues. Oh my God. I might have to start the box over again, you guys. I'm so sorry. Oh wow. Oh, this is not cool at all. Oh wow. Let me stop the share for a minute.
It means get your shit together.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
His name is
he's
King
very
Ezra.
Hey,
pretty.
baby.
Very pretty
Say
child.
your name, baby.
King Ezra. His first name is KING-EZRON.
Okay. That was the name I think I accepted on Facebook. Is your Facebook name under his?
No, my name is on Facebook. It is Calhoun Ezron.
Okay. All right. So Stephen, you called me from Charlotte. You said, right?
Tap my name.
I not go away. I'm talking now. Love you. Hello.
You called from Charlotte?
Yes. I just relocated back here like in July.
In July. Okay.
Yeah.
When's your birthday, Stephen?
October 9th.
October 9th is a Libra.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Stephen, Charlotte. October 9th is a Libra. Okay. What do you do for a living?
Currently, I'm working at a hotel. I do security maintenance, and they training me for manager to run the whole.
That's what's up. You say security maintenance?
Y'all hear, right? Like, remember what the book said. Sometimes it's a word, a phrase, the lack thereof. It could be a look, okay, a gesture. Did you hear what he said? Currently, that's what he's doing. That's a key word there. He does not have steady employment. Oh my God. Is this gonna do this every time I pause it? Like, that's not that's not gonna work. That is not gonna work, y'all. But I'm telling you, if you just watch Kendra G's show, that is really going to help you to really increase your discernment skills.
That's what I started as while I'm training for manager.
That's what's up. Okay, security. And when so this Stephen, Charlotte, how many kids do you have?
You saw how he thought about it for a minute, then he laughed. Oh my God. Y'all, oh my God. Come on.
Look, your face, it fits. I have 16 kids. No, I'm lying. No, I'm lying. I have 5 kids and 11 grown-ups. In 8 days, 4 children, 4 aunties.
What?
Okay,
Yeah,
so you really
Debbie
do have
Ashford.
16 children.
14 boys, 2 girls.
How many women?
16 kids, and he's currently, which means that he doesn't have steady employment. 16 kids, y'all. That is crazy. And see, the typical line of a religious narcissist in this situation will say, well, the Bible says you're supposed to be fruitful and multiply. But the Bible also says if men don't work, he don't eat.
God rest the dead too.
And he don't have steady employment, but it looked like he never missed a meal.
2 by 1.
This is a serious conversation we're having.
Yes, ma'am.
How old are your children? Give me ages.
Girl, he can't give you no ages.
31 next month.
He'll give you a range.
And is 29. No, he'll be 29. December 12th.
I feel like you giving me the lottery tickets, like I'm at the gas station and you about to give me the numbers to play the Powerball.
And look. And a lot of days when I say it in the fashion that I said, people like, you say that like you proud about it. No, I just say it like it's the truth.
Well, babe, I think you
Yes,
would
ma'am.
be proud because you didn't stop after number 3. Let's just say 3 was high. You ain't stop at number 5. Let's just say 5 was high. You ain't stop at number 7. Oh, well, let's just say you got to 10.
16
It
kids,
was like,
Take it
y'all.
over there.
it's too much.
Take it in.
You went more.
Hold
You
on,
went 6
one second.
more.
Take it in there. Take it. Take it in the room and close the door.
So, okay, let's give me the youngest kid's age. What's the youngest ages?
He probably got a
He
newborn.
just turned 6 on the 30th, and then I have one about to turn 5.
So, have you ever been married to any of your baby moms?
No, man.
So, okay, how many women had your children?
But you want to hear something good? To tweak whatever's going on in your mind?
To tweet.
I had 9 girlfriends in my life. My last girlfriend is the first.
Oh my God, with this buffering. Y'all, he said you want to hear something good to tweak whatever's going on in your mind.
Woman I never cheated on. I'm not a woman beater. I've been single for 2 years and maybe 2 years, so maybe about two and a half years right now.
Okay, so how many women got your kids again?
Like I said, made 2 rest in peace. Oh my God. 3 maybe they rest in peace. 6 living.
So 3 of your children moms passed away?
Yeah, my oldest son's mother died on my birthday.
Why? What happened?
I never was given the actual truth, in my opinion. You know, they're gonna say it was cancer, but I think it was something else. That's just something.
What about the other 2 that passed away?
One of them, she passed away with my stepdaughter, her daughter, in Charlotte, North Carolina. They drowned in the in a creek. They got swept away in the creek and they drowned. And
Hello?
yeah, just give me a second. I need anyway. But
So he's getting emotional. It sounds like he's saying like 9 different women. Did y'all hear the exact number? Because it's like it seems like he's saying like 3 of them passed away and 6 are still living.
she got killed by a boyfriend.
Okay, that's heavy. I'm sorry to hear this. Now, Stephen.
Well, let me stop you real quick. If someone ever informs you that they lost a loved one, please and thank you. Don't ever tell them that you're sorry to hear that. Because I caused a situation in the past when somebody genuinely was like, yo, how you said it and meant it, and me not, I guess I'm saying not in the right train of thought.
Clearly.
I said, what the fuck is you sorry for? And I was in his face when I said it, and it turned into unnecessary.
Well, what I'm trying to convey, is there's no joy in my heart to hear.
And look. That is equivalent to what I was saying.
So, okay, what is the
telling me
okay?
sorry.
Let me ask you this: what is the appropriate response when someone tells you that?
Not apologizing for something you didn't do. That's at that. You know what I mean?
But
She said, "I'm sorry to hear that." So, like, this guy, y'all, like, just, I just, yeah. Oh my God, let's just keep on going.
But still be empathetic. Okay, that's
my words would be my condolences for or to you, as opposed to saying that I'm sorry, because that generates a sorry for what? What did you do? And then that, like I said, I'm speaking from an actual example that happened. I turned it into he didn't mean it, he did something for him. He meant it the way you said. I'm sorry to hear that.
Okay, but, well, okay.
Me going through that particular time frame, I allowed.
Let me say this. Okay, yes, I'm gonna honor the way you took it. The way I think it's.
But you know, no, you fixed it, and it was the sexiest
Right.
one
Well,
I ever heard.
I want to explain something, and I won't repeat it because I can touch a trigger for you, and I will honor that. I want to be sympathetic to whatever a trigger is to you. But I think when someone says that, what they're saying, they're not apologizing for the act. They just feel bad that you had to go through that. So it's like, for you have to go through that. I'll give you an example. When my mom died, people will say, "Oh, she's in a better place." That pissed me off. You know, like that's when people say, "Oh, well, don't be sad. She's in a better place." And that was a trigger for me. So, and I knew that they had good intentions, but that was my trigger. So I'm going to honor your trigger, and I understand it. But let's move forward. That's
I
a
guess
lot.
it's
Though.
really a thing that people don't really know what to say when you know death happens. You don't know what to say to really like comfort you, or you know it's like you're like in an awkward place. It's like, okay, what do I say? Do I say anything? If I don't say anything, is that the right thing? Like, should I just be like, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to do, you know? So that's, I mean, that's a thing. And I think he probably was angry at the time and looking for a fight, you know. But for someone to apologize, you know, you know that a person is going through something, or that, you know, that things have happened to them is, you know, it's a bit trivial for him to get that triggered of it. But whatever. This guy, to me, like
There's a lot
what
to go
I'm getting
into,
so
though,
far
right?
is that
So
he does seem to um use the trauma and the tragedies in his life to gain sympathy, right? Or to excuse himself for the behavior that he has exhibited. Because the initial conversation was, I mean, they were going a little bit deep into the fact that he has 16 kids by, I don't know, 6 to 9 different women, right? Then he says, you know what, I could say, I could tell you something good to tweak your mind, right? And that's a phrase there. Why are you trying to tell me anything to tweak my mind, to change my perception of the fact that you have numerous amount of kids, no steady employment, right? And you are literally in the bed as we speak. What are you doing, sir? What are you doing? And now you're looking for another? So none of those women that you were with previously were enough? None of them were good enough to marry? But you had babies by all of these women? And now you're using their death to gain sympathy and to cover up your bad decisions. And then has the nerve to tell her, well, don't say you're sorry for something you didn't do. It sounds like he should be the one apologizing for all of the actions that he has taken so far. Well, let's continue. But this is you know, the comments and the thought process of someone who is very discerning, right? Because you're looking into more than what they're saying, right? Into a little bit deeper, but understanding that they're telling you everything that you need to know to make a decision of whether to
So
proceed or not.
the reason I asked about them is I want to understand this. Say that again. So you weren't able to make a relationship with any of the women that you
Good
had kids by?
question.
I absolutely possibly could have, but for so long amount of time, I neglected being where I should have been. I was a man. I was a womanizer. I was exactly where my daughter better not think she bring it home to me.
Pause. Now he's saying that he was a terrible man. He wasn't a good man. In fact, he would even caution his very own daughters, because I think he said he had 11 boys and 5 girls. Is that what I heard, y'all? So 5 daughters he has. And he is not even an example of the man that 5 women in this world, 5 young women in this world can look to and say, this is an example of what I should have in my life. In fact, I would venture to say that at least I hope that they're looking to him and saying, this is the exact example of the man I should not have in my life. And so the question even becomes to me, right, is if he is even a qualified or a decent of enough man to even be somewhat of a father to these girls. And I really don't even see how he can, given the fact that he has been spreading his seed all over the world to all of these different women. So what about the previous children that you had? How present were you in their life? How providing were you in their life? When you currently, right? Because remember, he said he currently is working a security job at what, a mall or something? And he's a single father now. But looking for a woman number what, 10? And I'm wondering if he even has done anything to like vasectomy or anything like that to prevent from having children in the future. Or more than likely, this guy is looking for someone who can still have children so he can have more. And what's really sad about it is that I know that some women will contact this man. Some women are interested in him because some of you believe that it's better to have a man that is crap than to not have one at all. He admits to being a womanizer. He admits to being the exact man that he doesn't want for his daughters. What is preventing him from being the man that his daughters can look to and say, this is the type of man that I want to marry. This is the type of man that I want in my life. What's preventing him from doing that? His own choices. His own choices. And it doesn't have anything to do with the women who have come into his life, because you cannot tell me that out of all the women that he was with, that none of them were good women. Because they were good enough to have babies with. It's him. He's the problem. And I would caution any woman to not proceed with this guy.
Say the last part.
I said, I was exactly what my daughters better not ever think about bringing home.
Better not ever
So
think
did you
about.
do the work? Now did you go to
This day.
therapy? What made you a changed man?
Believing in karma and loving myself.
Yeah.
Believing in karma and loving yourself?
Yes, ma'am, because like man told me one day in the midst of a very long conversation, he was like, everybody doesn't believe in karma, but the people that believe in karma, it applies for us. If you believe in karma, that it will come around, that what goes around, you and only you, not your next door neighbor, your mother, your father, best friend, you and your children will reap what you sow. And my biggest, and my own, nobody could change this opinion of mine as to where my karma will come from. It will come from how I not did women wrong, but I definitely did not do women how they deserve to be. Like I said,
so let me ask this, because your youngest child is 6 years old, right? You're not with his mother, right?
She was the last girl that was my woman, but I didn't mess it up.
He didn't mess it up.
You didn't mess it up. What happened in that circumstance?
Without going into detail, she did. It's her fault.
Okay, well, let's get some more details. Stephen, right?
So, y'all, he is clearly saying that the only thing that is really changing his decision making now is karma, which means that he is only afraid of the consequences of his actions. There is nothing intrinsically saying to him, right, that this is not how I want to be because this is not my heart. This is not my nature. This is not the core of who I am. This is not the man that I am, right? The only thing that is keeping him from making, and really, I don't believe that he's not making those same decisions, right? But he says it's karma, which means that it is the fear of the consequences of his actions. And it doesn't matter all of the consequences that he has caused, all of these women that he has left in his wake, right? But the consequences that he ultimately feels that he is going to reap from all of the bad decisions that he has made. And if a person does not have like this inner moral, or this inner like this inner compass of how to be, right? How to be a good person, how to be a fair person, how to be a loving and a giving, and not a user, not a womanizer, not, someone who spreads their seed all over the world. Leaving all of these women with his children and just moving on to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, doing the same thing, leaving children behind and moving on to the next, to the next, to the next. Nothing in him, nothing about the core of who he is or the nature of him or any part of his inner morality or anything is saying, do not do this. It is simply the consequences of his actions that he is afraid of. And that usually happens to men when they get to a certain age. Then they realize, dang, I'm probably going to reap the benefits of the stuff that I've been doing. I'm probably going to mess it up where I don't have someone to take care of me in my old age. But hey, I got all these kids. Or maybe one of my kids will take care of me. This is a man that I would say is not fit to be with any woman. Any woman. But I already know that there's probably plenty of women that got in his inbox and is like, hey, let me be your 10th baby mama, But let's keep going. Look at him, y'all. He is just not even, he still ain't got up out that bed. No.
Yes, ma'am.
How old are you?
46.
46. That's
Charlie
a hard
Stephen,
46, y'all.
Charlie.
That is a hard 46. Like you can tell he has been like living, okay? And not to the fullest, okay? He been living some type of way. 46 years old with 16 children. 11, wait, did he say 11? 11 boys and 5 girls. 11 boys, 5 girls. Now you tell me, what type of example is he for his son?
He's a Libra. He works at security maintenance, and currently he's going to get promoted. He has 60 children. Yeah. I'm not going to lie to you. That's a lot of children. I know most of them are grown, but to me, it's not even about being grown. It's about, life choices.
Exactly.
To be honest. But you're not here for me, so let's get into it. What kind of woman are you looking for?
One that, at minimum, is nothing less than what comes out of her mouth.
What?
If it comes out of your mouth, live it, and we'll go from there. I'm not into liars, don't steal, and we can figure it out. Is there a particular race or look? Not necessarily, but I mean, I'm not like Denzel Washington or one of the sex symbols. I'm not none of them, but I'm not an ugly dude, and I know that. But I don't portray myself to be better than or. You want to be able to hold somebody's hand in the mall, and that doesn't say that a less appealing individual to someone else couldn't grab your heart. That somebody did it some years ago that I didn't believe it could be done with a person that looked as she did, but I fell in love with her. And I guess I'm trying to think how to. I still wasn't ready. Let's just say I still wasn't ready to be what I absolutely am sure I was supposed to be. I know what a man is supposed to be.
So when did you become ready to be the man that
Exactly.
you
That's a
believe
good
you are
question,
now? When
Kendra.
did this change occur?
When did that
On my
happen?
30th birthday.
On your 30th birthday, that was 16 years ago. How many kids did you create after your 30th birthday?
Do y'all hear the inconsistencies and just the foolishness that is coming out this man's mouth? This is exactly what I'm telling you all about discernment. The information that you need to make an informed and wise decision is already there. He is already telling you what type of person he is. And he hadn't even gotten out the bed yet. He hadn't even gotten out the bed. Y'all. Uh-oh. Sorry, y'all. Hold on. I'm trying to turn it up because I'm having a hard time hearing what he's saying. I might need to pull out my headphones. Are y'all able to hear it okay? Because I don't know why I'm having a hard time hearing him. But she's saying, okay, well, when did you change? Right? Y'all hear her say, when did you change? And what does this dude say? On my 30th birthday, but he just got through saying he was 46, right? So she wants to know, well, how many babies have you had since this so-called change? He's counting on a woman not even listening to what he is saying.
Well, three.
So 3 different.
14-year-old, my 14-year-old, my 6-year-old, and then my 5-year-old.
So you created 3 kids after your 30th birthday. That's all.
Yes, ma'am.
And how many women were those 3?
3.
So okay. So let's just
my
say
14-year-old's mother is my 14-year-old mother. That's the one that passed away in 2011.
Okay. I guess where I'm going with this is, if you changed 16 years ago, why did you still continuously have babies by different women?
Because I believe that as long as I'm serious about what I'm doing, I'm not always going to be perfect in my intentions, but as long as my intentions are
my intentions.
I don't know how to word it, but I refuse to ever say that my children are a mistake. I used to say that it was a mistake, but they're not a mistake at all. But they were definitely an irresponsible action that I committed. And, you know, I keep pausing because I was just talking to my mother yesterday and she got upset about something that I said to her. And her reasoning is because I don't want to say it made her mad, but being honest and truthful and accepting something that is yours, it could hurt. And hurt could mimic anger. You know what I mean? Because I said to her, because right now my 14-year-old is living with her in New York. Like I just left New York in July to come back here. And he's been there about 6.5 months, maybe 7 months, based on what's been going on with me. And I told her in the midst of a very emotionally charged exchange, I said, don't worry about it, because my son will not live with his grandmother as long as I live with mine. And she understanding how I come to live with her mother, it had to jog up memories for her to relive, like, damn, I know how he got there, da 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 da. And she did what her people do. They defend this, ma'am.
So I'm not a professional therapist, but have you ever gone to one?
I've never gone to one, but my 14-year-old mother, when she was pregnant, she definitely, we did a role play of mental health evaluation.
She did a role play? I think, are you open?
Because no, she had an associate's and her bachelor's in psychology. And she was telling me then, like, yo, you should go to mental health, da da da. And act like you calling mental health and you set up
Okay,
any.
we're acting. I'm saying in
Yeah,
real life.
he's talking about he. Yeah, he said he used to role play with one of his baby mamas. You know what I'm saying? That's the closest he done got. That's the closest he done got to therapy. But I could have sworn, and I mean, we're not gonna go back, but I could have sworn he had just said that he went to therapy before. And that's when he realized about karma and he started loving himself. Didn't he say he went to it before? And now she's asking him and he's saying he role played. And he changed when he was 30. I could have sworn that's what he said. But y'all, are y'all doing the math here? I'm not even good at math, right? But my math is telling me that he had 13 kids before the age of 30. Y'all, 13 children before the age of 30. Then 3 additional children with 3 additional women after that. And so now his 14-year-old, right, obviously from what I'm hearing, lives with his mother. And she said something about that. And then he checked her about because he was living with his grandmother. So he was like, well, I live with your mother. And now my son lives with you with my mother. So and then he said this was some type of emotionally charged interaction. So that is giving you the indication that
A
he
lot of
had
people,
a
a
strained
No, but there
or
was no,
some type
no,
of
no.
weird relationship with his own mother. And everybody knows, right, that there is a correlation between the way a man treats his mother and the way he treats the women in his life or the woman in his life. So this is leading me to believe that there is a strain with his own
There was
mother.
no acting because she literally diagnosed me because and the thing about that was she was like, my diagnosis is gonna be easier because I lived with her for 10 months. She said normally you would have to answer questions, and if you didn't answer them truthfully, you couldn't be properly diagnosed. Me living with her, she was able to just acknowledge things that she knew and saw by living with her. And
That ain't how it works. That is not how that works, sir. But I can understand like if his ex, saw some behaviors that were consistent with some stuff that she saw in the DSM. You know what I'm saying? Like NPD, something like that. But that should have prompted him to get more counseling. But now he's thinking, oh, well, the role play, that was counseling. No, sir, it wasn't. That was your ex
you
telling
saying
you.
that me probably should seek professional help.
Mm-mm.
I don't dispute that
thank God.
totally, but at the same time, I don't think I have to.
Oh, you definitely
He don't
do.
think he has to.
You should.
Did you hear what I just said? I said I don't think it would hurt, but based on me and how I think and what I believe and how my determination is in certain areas, like I said, it wouldn't hurt me. But I'm serious about what I'm doing, and like I said, I've been a single parent for the last 14 years, living alone, and I'm talking.
Sir, stop using the circumstances that you caused yourself to try to seek sympathy. That's exactly what he's doing. While I've been a single parent for this long over that. Well, sir, that is your own actions. He said it won't hurt for him to get counseling, but it won't help. It won't help because his mindset won't change. He said, I know my mindset. See, y'all got to listen for these little subtle things that they say. He tried to change it and then start to focus on the kid that came in the room, right? Because he's trying to just focus on something else. Ask another question. And Kendra face, look, Kendra like, look at Kendra face, yeah. Kendra like, we're gonna talk about this, honey. I'm asking all the questions and you gonna answer them, sir. But that's what this is giving. His mindset will not change. He is fixed. right? So some like if you are a Christian and maybe this would lead you to believe that he has somewhat of a reprobate mind, right? He is definitely showing signs of narcissism.
with 5,000 people.
6,900 people.
Oh man, it says
6,900. We're almost at 10,000 people.
well, you hear what she said. A bunch of people watching your daddy
Get
right
your
now. That's what's
views,
saying something.
girl.
Did you drink your slushy? All right.
Okay,
Few minutes, I'm coming.
let me jump, baby. I
Okay.
sincerely.
So 1 second. So if you stay in here, you cannot be loud. Love you.
So listen, I think
Yes, ma'am.
any woman watching might be a little cautious and might want to make sure that everything's in alignment. So let me just. I'm curious to know this though. What are your deal breakers? What would you date?
That's a good question.
Someone that blatantly tells lies or attempts to manipulate situations.
You mentioned that a couple times.
That's my breaker. Like it's like if an individual is sincere what they say and I agree with it and they live up to it, I have no dispute. I have no argument to someone living up to their words, and because I'm real big on explaining to people, yo, I'm not into this. This is not that. And if you don't want to be around what I'm talking about, love you, peace, have a good day.
Okay, so does the woman gotta look a certain way?
That's weird.
Not necessarily, no. But
I
ain't looking for no. Nah, not at all. I'm only here temporary.
Cause she have kids?
Yeah.
Do you want more kids?
I prefer a woman with children. I prefer a woman with children.
You don't want no more kids, do you?
Hence, I prefer a woman with children because a woman without children more likely will want one.
So,
but if I ever have another child, if I ever have another, listen, let me say this before you answer. I'm not saying that I want more children, but if I ever had a child, it would only because my wife wanted it. You
have you ever
my
been married?
Wife, right? Never.
You're ready to be married now? Why are you ready to be married now?
Yeah, Did you see his face? Did you see his face when she said, "Are you ready to be married now?" And see, that's where R.L. Mako in the book is telling you that sometimes it's a gesture, even, right? You could tell by his face that it's a give or take for him. He doesn't care about being in a committed relationship. He can still obviously have children, right? Because he said the only way he would is if the 10th woman that he's with wants one. But if he was actually being responsible, he would have already taken care of that on his own. He would have already gotten a vasectomy. Like, why not? You have 16 children, sir. You're not stable. You don't have stable employment. You're not seeking any type of therapy or mental health. You're a single father. Why don't you focus on your children and the one who just lost their mother? Instead, that child is living with his mother. This is giving all kind of red flags all up and through, y'all. And that's the thing about discernment, is that the information is already there in front of you to make an informed decision.
I had to be honest and think about being in a relationship is a responsibility. And for many years of my life, I was not. I didn't really have a disciplinarian that enforced what I already knew. As far as anybody that's not retarded or have mental issues, by the age of 10, we know right from wrong, yes and no. So I knew everything by then, but I got this old man next door to me. My tattoos. God's son is on one arm, and my other arm is the devil's child. And
let me say this.
God's
Let
son,
me say this. Let me say
God's son, and a devil's child. What? Like, really, y'all? And then he talk about he didn't have a disciplinarian and all of it. Like, child, what?
this. I appreciate you coming. I think there's some things that you really I listen, I know a lot of people don't believe in therapy. I'm a person that believes in therapy, child.
don't believe in what?
Don't believe in therapy. So let me say this. I would offer my own personal therapist to you and pay for a session. Would you be open to that?
I'm not gonna say no. Because when you first brought up the mental health thing, if you pay attention, my response is I don't think it would be a bad thing if I did.
Yeah. Because
but
I'm gonna be honest.
I'm a bullheaded, believing in myself, and I got a multiple of individuals that how do you say giving me my flowers based on who they know from years ago to who I am today, and they know that I'm serious based on how I move or don't move at this time. Like here's my three things every day. I cannot allow my emotions to override my intellect. I gotta be nothing less than what I want my daughter to end up with. Practice don't make you perfect, but it actually makes you better. And I practice every day on a constant basis. And I don't know.
Well,
but this is what I would say to you.
Gotta go.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Listen,
I was about to respond to your about your therapy thing. Like I said, I'm not gonna say no, but send me an inbox and a good thing about going, because I say this to my, because I got a friend right here sitting behind me. She told me something she's doing next week. Even if she doesn't do it, I told her I'm proud that she could even verbalize it. Meaning, I won't ever say that it would be a bad thing for me to talk to someone.
Okay, well, how about this? Here's the deal. Stephen, we're gonna go. If you're open, that's what I'm gonna offer you tonight. I feel like you definitely, I mean, the 16 children is one thing, but in this conversation, I do think there's some things you have to impact. If you are open to the idea, like I said, I will pay for the session myself, and my therapist is not cheap. So, and PTSD, you probably hold on, Stephen.
Yes, ma'am.
You would need more than one, but like I said, I would pay for the first one so you could at least
look at his
see
face, y'all.
If anything she has to offer can help you. If you're open to that, the offers.
Look at his face. Look at his body language.
Let me know. I will look for your inbox. I will put you in contact. The first session will be on me. If you're open to that, I wish you the best in life, and I think once you get some things unpacked, we can present you to the women watching. But right now, I think you got to get some things together.
You're a messed up individual. That's what you say.
Catch me on my 50th birthday. Because here's an example of how I grew up on my 30th birthday. I've been grown from the age of 10 to the age of 30. I was grown, but I grew up on my 30th birthday. I gave myself a realistic 10 to 30 is 20 years. 30 to 50 is 20 years. I said by the time I'm 50, yeah.
By the time he's 50, okay. Yeah.
Patience is a virtue. Patience is a virtue. If you don't use it, it can hurt you.
And there you have it. All right, Stephanie, we're gonna go, baby. Bye. Bye, sweetheart.
Yeah, that too. Love you, peace.
Bye. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
And his teeth look bad too, y'all. It doesn't even look like he's, been to a dentist in a while. But it looks like to me, you guys, another religious-based narcissist, right? Another religious-based narcissist. And what's really sad about the situation, right, is that there are a lot of women who will fall for this. They'll fall for it. And they'll think, okay, well, maybe the 10th woman is a charm, right? Maybe the 17th child he'll actually take care of. You know? But you see a man who resists help, who lets you know that his mindset is set, does not want a committed relationship, but even if he was in a committed relationship, what kind of quality relationship would that be? Like, what difference does it make if he's committed to you? He couldn't even get out the bed to talk on the phone with a ripped up shirt on and a messed up mindset. No self-reflection, right? Not even any critical thinking, and the only thing that is stopping him from making even worse decisions than he already has is the consequences of those decisions. There has to be more in a person that prevents them from hurting people, from doing bad things, from making bad decisions. It has to be more in you than the consequences of doing bad. Because guess what? In the absence of the consequences, what decision are you making? And that is what we are seeing in today's time, is that the only thing that is keeping somebody from literally taking you out is because what? Of the consequences. But there is nothing in them that says, you know what, this is wrong. This is not who I am. This is not my nature. This is not the person I am. It's not the man that I am. I'm a protector and a provider. I'm someone who does not have more kids than I can take care of. I'm someone who is committed to at least the third woman I was with. The fourth, fifth, I don't know. But just to continue down this path, and even at his age right now of 46, which is a hard 46, okay? There is still nothing in his mindset that is saying, or nothing in him that is saying, what type of man am I? In fact, what he's saying, well, maybe when I'm 50, maybe when I actually need someone to take care of me, maybe when I need a nurse and a purse, then I might entertain the idea if that's what I gotta do because of the consequences. And I would tell you, ladies, if you are using discernment, then you would not choose him. You would not choose anyone like him. He's not even fit to be a father. He's not even a man that his own daughters can look up to. He has to keep this mantra in his mind, be someone that my daughters can look up to or want. He has to keep convincing himself to be that person. That's not who he is. So I'm telling you, discernment is your key here. Discernment is what is going to save your life, to keep you from making decisions that are detrimental to you and the people around you. He wants a woman with children. Why? And it's not only because, well, if she doesn't have them, then she's going to want them with me, even though I already have 16. I don't believe that that's the only reason why. But he's given you enough information in a matter of 25 minutes, because that video was 25 minutes, came to an hour, with all my commentary and with the buffering issues. I'm sorry about the buffering issues, by the way. I'm going to get that fixed. I probably just need to restart my router because I usually don't have any Wi-Fi issues. But I don't know. It might be that Kendra G karma, y'all. Because y'all know, if y'all watch Kendra G, but like if you watched her for any length of time, then you know she always has Wi-Fi issues. So I'm really feeling like, it's some of that Kendra G karma, like some of them Kendra G vibes rubbing off on my video. But hey, you guys, go ahead and like the video and share the video real quick. I want to remind you all of my new guidebook that's out. It's an ebook that's available on Kindle and also available on my website, kingdomcodeacademy.com. That's kingdomcodeacademy.com. And all you have to do is start an account on my website. It's a totally free account, and you will get the guidebook for free. Okay. And it's right there on my website. So as soon as you sign up, you will have access to the guidebook. Or, of course, you are welcome to go.
The guidebook is not available right now. So let me go on to the next video. And I'm making progress. I am on, what is this, chapter 8, I think. I'm on chapter 8 doing some edits to chapter 8. What are y'all working on? What are you creating? Let me know in the chat. Are y'all liking these discernment videos? Y'all let me know how these discernment videos are impacting you. Because you know what, like I told y'all before, you hear people talk about discernment a lot, but you rarely actually hear them teaching it. And so this channel actually teaches you discernment, walks you through the steps, and just helps you. I help you to be more discerning. No shame, no guilt, no pressure. This is discernment is really based on who you are, your values. Your morals, what you cherish in relationships and in your life. And it starts there with knowing who you are. And in these videos, you'll see that a person's ability to discern, their sort of level of discernment is really depending on them, which it should give you a lot of comfort to know that it's not something that you have to get. Like, you already have it, right? But you just have to hone those skills. You just have to practice that gift. Like I said, it's like working a muscle. You have to strengthen it. Strengthening it means that you have to use it in every area of your life and every day of your life to make the best decisions for you. I don't want you to think of it as some grand spiritual concept that only applies to Christians or only applies to religious people or anything like that. Like, no, you cannot identify as a Christian and totally tap into your gift of discernment and use it to completely enrich your life and elevate your life, to make better decisions, to have healthier friendships, to move differently in the world and be safer in your interactions. So, don't think of it like, you have to be on some sort of spiritual level in order to really tap into that gift. You don't. So let's continue. This next chapter, this next video that we're going to watch is called Discernment and Spirituality. And this is the chapter 2 in the book,
Delores, the pastor's daughter.
A Yearn to Discern, by R.L. Mako. And, like I said before, y'all, this is a really, really good book, so I definitely recommend you getting it. But if you don't get it, obviously excuse me, obviously you can get it right here on this channel. I read it aloud to you and, pull up some scenarios and real life examples and cases where we can really work that muscle, put discernment in action. Sometimes it's easier to start to really hone those discernment skills when you're looking at other people's situation. I mean, look at, how like you can have a friend, girlfriend, or whatever, and you can see a lot of the mistakes that she's making, how she moved, how she should have moved differently and all that. It seems like our discernment is much sharper when we're talking about other people. But when it comes to applying it to our lives, that's where we start to be like real shaky on our discernment. So, this and that's fine, like if that's how you have to start, then that's fine. You start honing those skills by looking at other people, other situations, and then you begin to look inward and see how you can change your life, make better decisions in your life, enrich your life. And that's how you really get those discernment skills down. Okay, so let's keep on going. And like I said in the chat, let me know what you're creating, let me know what you're working on. As you come in, as you leave, please hit the like button. Let people know that we're doing these live writing sessions together so we can hold each other accountable, and so that we can encourage one another. Okay, thank you, and let's get started.
And welcome to your daily dose of discernment. Again, my name is Delores, the pastor's daughter. I am your discernment and relationship coach. Okay, I am a nationally certified counselor and an international best-selling author. And in today's video, we are going to get into discernment and spirituality as soon as we get back. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Excuse me. Good morning to you. Well, I guess it depends on where you are. So, and depending on what time you're watching. So, if it's not morning where you are, then good evening, good afternoon, whatever the case may be. So, today we are going to get into discernment and spirituality. This is chapter 2 of the book that we've been reading, A Yearn to Discern by R.L. Mako. And it's finding purpose and fulfillment through discernment. And I just wanted to come on just for a few minutes and kind of give you like a little dose of discernment, because when we think about discernment, I think that we have really complicated this whole concept of discernment. But more than likely, you've been using discernment already in your everyday life, but you probably just haven't contributed your decision making to the discernment process, right? Or you haven't really activated discernment to the point where you have using or used its like the fullness of what discernment is and all the capabilities that it has, right? So as we are getting into this whole topic of discernment, I just want to like give you like little bits, as we go along to try to build up this foundation of discernment so that that what it is, how to use it, how to activate, how to elevate your discernment, and how to really use discernment in your everyday life, right? So today we are getting into discernment and spirituality. Now, this is where I really think that a lot of the conversation around discernment really kind of goes wrong, is because I think that a lot of people think of discernment as this, this vast or this, really grand spiritual concept, right? But that does it a bit of a disservice, right? Because we could be using discernment in our everyday life. I mean, there is a discerning of spirits, right? Which is a spiritual gift. But we are not talking about discernment on that level just yet, right? We are talking about discernment just in its basic levels and how we can just build a foundation of discernment. But in chapter 2, we get into a bit of that concept of discernment and spirituality. So let's go ahead and start reading chapter 2, okay? Now, this is what it says. And again, this book is by R.L. Mako, and the information about the book is in the description. So you should go and get it, obviously, because it's a really good book. And it also has sections in here that you can fill out, right? And questions, reflective questions at in the middle or at the end of each chapter, so that you can kind of reflect on your past and your present and your future discernment decision making. Okay, so let's get started with chapter 2. And this is what it says. If you've ever ventured out to research books written on the subject of discernment, you will find there are books that address discernment in the spiritual realm, and then books that discuss discernment in the secular context, okay? Even essays or blogs you may find on the topic of discernment are crafted in two separate categories. One is discernment in spirituality, or two, discernment in everyday life situations. I've even come across writings that discuss discernment as if it's a talent or gift that is received by some and not others. Okay, now that's the key here. Okay, because some of us think, okay, well, I don't have discernment. I haven't been given this gift of discernment, but everybody has discernment, okay? And we discussed this in previous chapter, right? That your ability to discern, right, is dependent on you, on the individual, okay? Which means that if you are practicing discernment, if you are honing that skill, then you can increase your ability to discern over time. Okay. So, some of these writings focus on the goal of finding out if you possess the gift of discernment or not. I find these positionings on the subject matter of discernment to be problematic and conflicting. The notion that spiritual discernment and everyday discernment must be treated separately ignores the relationship between the two and how one affects the other. And furthermore, I find it reckless to discuss discernment as if only a chosen few possess the ability to discern as a gift or talent, while others remain out of luck. This is not how discernment works. Although I am in complete agreement that discernment is a gift from God, it is a gift given to all of us, okay? Not a chosen few. Unfortunately, many of us fail to take advantage of this gift, and therein lies the problem, okay? Now, right out the gate, okay? Chapter 2 is letting you know, look, you got it, babe. You've got the gift of discernment. You were born with it, okay? It's not something that, well, okay, you got it and you got it. You don't got it. You know what I'm saying? It's not like that. We got it, okay? You got it. So, to be more specific, let's go back to the roots of the word discern. In addition to the definitions of the word discern discussed in chapter 1, it is no coincidence that the word discern/discernment is found throughout several books in the Bible, both in the Old and New Testaments. This is a significant fact to consider in your understanding of discernment. The Holy Bible makes various references to discernment with respect to understanding God, gaining wisdom, establishing truth, and other biblical contexts surrounding the processing of information, such as knowing right from wrong, good and evil, and the revelation of God. Throughout this book, I will consistently highlight an important fact about discernment that one should not forget. Discernment is a God given internal element, the way intuition is a God given internal element. Okay. Now, notice here that she listed intuition, right? And discernment as two different things. Okay. So that's one thing to remember, is because a lot of people think intuition and discernment is the same thing, and it is not. Okay. But we'll get to that. The point to be made is that spiritual discernment begets daily discernment and ultimately flows into the same stream. The initial understanding of discernment starts with the acknowledgement and acceptance of spiritual lessons in discernment and applying them to your everyday life in order to achieve clarity in understanding God, your life, and your purpose in the world. In other words, both realms of discernment, spiritual and secular, are intimately connected. Okay? Intimately connected. Therefore, it is misleading for one to discuss the spiritual realm of discernment and not discuss daily discernment and vice versa, right? Because it's a flowing stream. They both flow together, right? Even worse, it is negligent for anyone to treat them separately as if one does not impact the other. That is a mistake you do not want to make. Okay? The problem with discussing discernment in the spiritual context is that some people think you are only speaking to certain segments of the population when you dare discuss God, spirituality, and the meaning of life. Okay? This is not just some grand Christian concept, okay? This is not some religious concept. Discernment is a God given gift that everyone has. And when we talk about spiritual discernment and daily discernment, they flow together, okay? We are all spiritual beings, regardless of what your religious affiliation is or the lack thereof. You are a spiritual being. Okay. So when we talk about spiritual discernment, it doesn't matter what religion you are or if you're not into religion at all. Okay. Keep that in mind. Now, let's go back. The problem with discussing discernment in the spiritual context is that some people think you are only speaking to a certain segment of the population when you dare discuss God, spirituality, and the meaning of life. Some people will shut down immediately when you acknowledge the presence of God and God's hand in finding one's purpose. It would be preferable and possibly sell more books if this book spoke about God in a vague sense and solely used the word spirit or universe to discuss spiritual discernment and the role it plays in our lives. Some people would feel more comfortable if that's how I'd position any discussion of discernment and spirituality. However, I would be doing myself and the topic of discernment and anyone attempting to learn how to discern properly a disservice by not staying true to the source, the understanding, the power, and the meaning of discernment. Therefore, I simply will not do it. Okay, this is what R.L. Mako is saying. Okay, this is where we are right here, y'all. This is what R.L. Mako is saying. Okay, let's keep going. The truth of the matter is, discernment is not a comfortable topic to discuss and dissect. Anyone who wants to either learn how to discern properly, improve upon their discerning skills, or learn how to discern more consistently will need to understand discernment entirely. And that includes acknowledging the source and the strength of discernment. One cannot be willing to accept only certain aspects of discernment and think they will achieve maximum fulfillment in life. Therefore, understanding the source and certainly the spiritual source of power that stands side by side with the ability to discern is a pivotal part of grasping its concept and being able to put it into practice effectively. Okay, y'all following? Moreover, most humans possess the ability to discern. We actually start discerning as children. Remember, I kept telling y'all that, right? Babies have discernment. We actually start discerning as children, even though we do not know that's what we are doing. We will discuss children and discernment in a subsequent chapter. But you should know that absent neurological and developmental disabilities, we all begin discerning early in life. Okay. But as we experience life more and more, and our personalities and character traits settle in, we balk at discernment as we allow people and things to influence our lives, oftentimes without even knowing it. Do y'all hear that? We have it. Babies have discernment, right? But as we develop our personalities, our character, as all of that starts setting in, right? Then we're like, discernment begins to be a thing that we don't really, we don't really accept because we're allowing all of these other things to influence our life. Okay. Despite what we allow to get in the way, our ability to discern is given to us with the intent that we use it to gain understanding and wisdom as we navigate life. Discernment is not meant to be used by only a chosen few. Okay? Discernment is not meant to be used by only a chosen few. Now let's go into the next section. Living by the golden rule. Okay? Living by the golden rule. The best example I can give to reinforce the relationship between discernment and spirituality is to discuss the golden rule. Just in case you don't know what the golden rule is, it is the rule that you treat people the way you want them to treat you. This rule may be found in more than one source, but it is firmly established in the New Testament of the Holy Bible, and that's Luke 6:31, which states, "And as you wish that others would do to you, do so to them." Matthew 7:12 states it similarly as follows. So, whatever you wish that others would do to you, do also to them. For this is the law and the prophets. Okay. So that's in Luke 6:31 and Matthew 7:12, right? So where it talks about the golden rule. Now we've heard the golden rule in a bunch of different areas of our lives, right? And not just in the Bible, but that's where it's kind of like, it's firmly established, is how R.L. Mako describes it. Now, while I'm willing to bet that some people would find issue with the source of this rule, let's stay focused on its meaning and how its implication to our life will change your perspective and allow you to see and approach interactions with people differently going forward. Okay? So, even though some people might not like the fact that this comes from the Bible, don't get caught up in that part, right? Just think about it in a sense of, how can this perspective allow, or allow us to see and approach interactions with people differently, right? And how we relate to one another, okay? The simplicity of the golden rule. The premise behind the golden rule is quite simple. Treat people the way you would want them to treat you. If we all thought about this rule before we spoke to someone, how differently would our words and actions be toward one another? Would we even approach someone under certain circumstances if we thought about this rule first? Think about that, okay? Let's just think about that for a minute. If we thought about this rule, right? How differently would your interactions be with people, right? When you think about approaching someone, if you thought, okay, I'm going to do them like I would want them to do me, how differently will we all behave, right? Just think about that. Would we even approach someone at all, right? Like, would we even, okay, well, I'm mad right now. So, w- do I approach this person when I'm mad? Would I want them to approach me when they're fire mad? When they've got, steam coming out of their ears? Would I want them to approach me like that? We would be totally different, right? Think about the fact that we all want to be treated with respect and dignity, right? I haven't met anybody in this world who does not want to be treated with respect and dignity. I have not met not one person, okay? Have you? Have you met one person who does not want to be treated with respect and dignity? I haven't. Keeping that thought in mind, the question becomes, when we initiate interactions, especially when we approach someone to complain or criticize, right? Because that's when it really comes into play, okay? Do we approach everyone with the same respect and dignity we expect to receive in return? Do you? Let me check myself. Do I? You know, if we thought about this rule, this golden rule, how much differently would our interactions be with each other? Also, think about this. When we are met with anything less than dignity and respect, do we respond in a way that takes into account our actions or thoughts that may have precipitated or a particular response to someone or from someone? Excuse me. Do we respond in a way that takes into account, right, our actions or thoughts that may have precipitated a particular response from someone? So, did you initiate, you know, did you initiate this response that you're getting? Now, that's food for thought, right? Think long and hard about your answers to these questions for a moment. Let's just think about that. Let's just think about that, because this really comes into play, right? When we are being nasty to someone, right? When we are being critical, when we're confronting somebody, we're being conflictual, whatever, like that's when it really comes into play. Because this doesn't really come into play like when you're paying someone a compliment or when you're saying something nice, right? This comes into play when there is a little bit of contention in the air, in that interaction, right? So then we think about, okay, would I want this person to address me this way? I want dignity and respect, but am I giving dignity and respect? These are all part of discernment, right? Because we have to think about our actions and our interactions with one another. Are we bringing on the very nastiness that we don't like, right? Are we causing other people, and not necessarily causing, right? But are we contributing to a lack of dignity and respect that we are receiving? And though we don't do like this victim blaming thing over here, right? We do take into account our part in our interactions with people, right? We take into account our part in what happens in our life over here on this channel, okay? So sometimes it's the thoughts we carry around in our minds about the person or situation we are approaching that dictates how we convey a message to them. Now, how many times have we had these thoughts about a person that interfered, right, or contributed to how we talk to them? Think about it. Think about it on a race in a race situation, right? Think about it there. This person is Black. This person is Indian. This person is Muslim, right? And then now we have changed or it somehow impacted the dignity and respect that we give to that person. That person's a child, right? So now I don't have to give them dignity and respect. I mean, think about it. Think about how many kids have said, well, well, this adult doesn't respect me, right? But they want respect from me. Okay. Think about it in a gender issue, right? How do we talk to men and women? How do we talk to the opposite gender? Do we have a lack of respect or dignity because they are the opposite gender? Or because they are the same gender? Okay. Think about it. I can recite 2 life situations that come to mind when thinking about the golden rule and its application to daily life. Now, let's get into this, y'all. Okay. First of all, she's about to get into a whole situation, and this is called life situation number 1. RESPECT. Okay. Tell me what it means to me. Okay, we know it. When you hear Aretha Franklin sing the song RESPECT, you can feel the intensity of the song and its power through every verse. Can you not? Think about it, right? Everybody like everybody knows that song, right? Is it like some songs, y'all, are just like so timeless that like it doesn't matter like what generation hears it, it's just like it rings, okay? And this is one of those songs, okay? So you can even feel in you can even feel it in the inflection of Miss Franklin's voice. The song and how she sang it struck a timeless chord with the country and the world. A chord that still resonates with the world today, right? Exactly. That's exactly what I was saying. Like it does, like the song is timeless, okay? This is a distinct reason why this song is identifiable to all. Why is that? Well, as humans, we all have this innate belief that we should be treated with dignity and respect. However, and ironically enough, all of us believe that we should treat others, okay, with the same respect and dignity that we all believe we deserve. Huh? How? How do you reconcile that in your mind, right? How do you reconcile that in your mind? Well, you don't deserve to be treated with dignity and respect, but I deserve it. Where? Like, where do you get off? You know? And that posturing, ladies and gentlemen, summarizes the fundamental problem the fundamental problem with humanity, and arguably the primary reason for most, if not all, of the major and minor conflicts prevalent in the world today. Can't you see it? Can't you see it in every single issue that we have in today's world? Think about the violence against women. Think about the LGBTQ issues that we have, right? Think about the children who are mistreated, who are abandoned, who are abused. Think about it. Think about it in your work environment, right? When there is a contentious work environment, you notice that it's the golden rule, right? In this idea that I deserve to be treated with dignity and respect, but you don't. Think about that. Think about how that is at the root, right, of so many problems. And that if we would just be more discerning, at least about this one thing, how much that would change our interactions with one another, how much that would change the level of violence and hatred we have in this world. Think about how much more harmonious we would be as a community, as a gender, as a race, as a country, right? As people, if we thought about this in every single interaction. Let's continue. Whether today's or yesterday's conflicts are tied to issues of religion, culture, politics, race, socioeconomics, class, gender, or any other issues that we find permeating through one's oppression and violence towards another. When we strip down the issues it to its meager beginnings, we will find that the basic issue underlying all others issues is the fundamental issue of respect and dignity, or the lack thereof. Child. She said something, Nancy. I could just start reading the book right here. And that one concept will change the world. Think about it. Think about how much a lack of dignity and respect that we have for one another has impacted every 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 conflict. Think about that. Think about that. Let me just read that one more again. One more again, okay? Whether today's or yesterday's conflict, think about that for 1 minute, okay? Because that's a powerful statement right there. Because that's saying to you that even back in the day, right, we are still dealing with the same underlying issue that we are today and that we will deal with tomorrow, right? Because of a lack of dignity and respect that we have for one another. Look, read it, okay? Whether today's or yesterday's conflicts are tied to issues of religion, culture, politics, race, socioeconomics, class, gender, and any other issues that we find permeating through one's oppression and violence towards another. When we strip down the issues to its meager beginnings, we will find that the basic issue underlying all other issues is the fundamental issue of respect and dignity, or a lack thereof. Child. Is she preaching or is she preaching, honey? Okay, like she's preaching. This book is a whole bunch of sermons. Okay, this book is giving. Do you hear me? This book is giving. And the fact of the matter is that we are a whole world, right? I can't even say we are a society, we are a culture, we are a gender, we are a race, we are a people, we are a whole world of individuals that have absolutely no respect or dignity for each other because we do not discern. We don't discern. We don't even know what it is. But we have people that tell you, well, where is your discernment? Use your discernment. But no one tells you how. How? How do I grasp this concept of discernment when there is so much misinformation? There are so many lies, right? When I'm being treated a certain way, then I lash out a certain way. Think about all of the programming that we have received that affect our ability to make sound decisions, that even affect our ability to have respect and dignity for one another. Okay, let me continue. As humans, we all expect to be treated with respect and dignity. We should all know that respect is reciprocal. Yet, we constantly find ourselves in situations where people are demanding our respect while treating us as less than deserving of respect. It's sad to say, but there are a number of people who use their prejudices, social status, wealth, education, race, and a whole host of other factors as weapons for the primary purpose of denying others of the fundamental human right, the fundamental human right of respect and dignity. And they do this while simultaneously, okay, believing that they should be automatically respected at all times. Think about that. Anyone walking around with that attitude and belief system is dangerous. Dangerous. She said it and I co-sign. Okay? I second that emotion. Dangerous. Anyone walking around with this belief, right? Let me just read it again. It's sad to say that there are a number of people who use their prejudices, social status, wealth, education, race, and a whole host of other factors as weapons. 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 For the primary purpose of denying others, just for that purpose of denying others the fundamental human right of respect and dignity, the fundamental human right, okay, of respect and dignity. I'm getting all into this. Like I'm feeling it, y'all, okay? And they do this. They do this while simultaneously believing that they should be automatically respected at all times. How many times? How many times have y'all seen this happen? How many? Get in the chat. Tell me, how many times have you seen this? You probably saw this growing up in your own household. Your fundamental right of being treated with human right. Your fundamental human right. You are a human being. That's what that means. It's not that you have had to do anything to get it. You are a human being. It's a fundamental human right to be treated with dignity and respect. Yet you have these people that use all of these things, their status. I mean, come on, I just wrote a whole book. A whole book. Where my book at? Where my book? Where my book at, y'all? Wrote a whole book. Provoked. Because this right here that she's talking about, this is what we are dealing with in a narcissistic world. We are dealing with people who are entitled to everything you are. They are entitled to your respect, right? That you owe them, right? And especially the religious narcissist. Huh? The religious narcissist. Entitled because they are a man of God, right? Because they are a woman of God. But what are you? I mean, what are you? Are you not a man or a woman of God? Were you not created by the Creator just like they were? Were you not? But you have these people who are walking around, right? Abusing you spiritually. This is why discernment and spirituality is so important. And this is why in this book, I wrote a lot about discernment in here, because it is important that we are discerning the people that we are interacting with. And what I find is that in this narcissistic world, right, the religious narcissist is the most dangerous because they abuse your spirit being, right? Which is the core of who you are, your purpose. Why you are in this world, why you were created. That's what they attack. They are the most dangerous variety of narcissists. Let's continue. And I'm going to read this again. It's sad to say, but there are a number of people, narcissists, religious narcissists, right, who walk around that use their prejudices, their social status. Oh, I'm a pastor. Oh, I'm a prophet, right? Oh, I'm a man of God, or I'm a woman of God, right? I'm chosen. I'm a Hebrew Israelite. I'm this and I'm that, right? They use their wealth. They use their education. Oh, I'm a doctor. You know, they use their race. Oh, I'm a black man, right? And a whole host of other factors as weapons for the primary purpose of denying others the fundamental human right of respect and dignity. And they do this while simultaneously believing that they should be automatically respected at all times. No joke. Anyone walking around with that attitude and belief system is dangerous. Dangerous. That's the religious narcissist. Dangerous. And unfortunately, many of us actually walk around with such an attitude. Are you that one? Are you that one? Are you that one that uses your prejudices, your social status, your wealth, your education, your race, and whatever other reason? And now we are finding that even the LGBTQ plus, IA plus, whatever, right, are even using the same thing. The same thing. To deny others of their fundamental human right of respect and dignity. Are you that one? Ask yourself. Because guess what? If you are the one walking around with that attitude and belief system, you are dangerous. And unfortunately, many of us actually walk around with such an attitude. Now, here is the most interesting part of all of this. If we all followed the golden rule, this problem of lack of respect, along with the conflicts it creates, would be eliminated. Eliminated. If we simply treated each other with dignity and respect. And I say simply because really, how hard is it? Really? How hard is it? Again, the golden rule is rather simple. See, she says the same thing. She says the same thing. The golden rule is rather simple. I respect you and you respect me. That's not hard at all. This rule does not take into account anything other than the fact that we are all human beings. That's it. That is it. That's all that is required. You're a human being. I'm a human being. Okay, let's treat each other with respect. It's not that hard. Okay. It's not that hard. It doesn't take into consideration our race, our gender, ethnicity, sexual preference, education, culture, social status, or anything else. Nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. What does my gender have to do with it? What does my race have to do with it? Nothing. I'm a human being. Treat me with respect. You're a human being. I will treat you with respect. That is it. That is all that is required. It's that simple. That simple. If we were to take into account anything other than the common denominator, and she underlined it. Where is it at? Look at that. Can you see it? Can you see it? Can you see it? Common denominator, underline. That's our commonality. That's where we are all the same, because we are all human beings. So why are we looking for all of these other reasons to separate ourselves or to treat each other differently, to lack respect, lack dignity for each other, when all we have to do is just look at our commonality? Our common denominator is we are human beings. Okay? If we take into account anything other than the common denominator that we are all human beings, we now enter that slippery slope of leaving the realm of objectivity and entering the realm of subjectivity. Now it depends on, well, how old are they? Right? Oh, because we do have an age issue too, right? Because if they're too young, then they don't deserve dignity and respect. If they're too old, well, you old, then they don't deserve it. Because it comes into all of these other things begin to be the determining factor of whether a person deserves dignity and respect. But you don't want those factors to come into play when you want dignity and respect, do you? Do you? Okay? The fact that we are all human is the one and only fact that we share, right? Together. It is our universal connector. That's it. That's what connects us all. That's what connects me to someone who is on the other side of the world, totally different from me, is that they are a human being as well. Okay? No other fact applies to all of us besides the fact that we are all human. In other words, the fact that we are all human is the only fact you need in order to treat everyone with respect. That's all you need. That's all you need. That's all you need to know. I'm a human being. Okay? Any other facts are distractors. That is information used subjectively to uplift some and alienate others. I'll tell you that adding subjective considerations onto the golden rule only serve to validate some at the expense of others. Put simply, adding more information into the fact that we are all human is a flawed response that one uses when they're hurting on some level, whether they know it or not. In turn, they project that hurt on to others. This is irresponsible on so many levels. Wow. However, if we leave the subjectivity out of the equation, okay, it's not part of this. Leave it out of the equation totally. And therefore choose to discern, right? We use the golden rule to take into account the only two relevant pieces of information that make up this rule, which is the following. We are all human, and all human life should be treated with respect and dignity. That's all, folks. That's what she said. That's all. All you need to know to process and implement the golden rule is the fact that we are all human. That's it. So let's respect one another. Some of us fail to understand that giving another human being respect should be done so without any strings attached, especially strings that are attached due to a perceived social status used to prejudice and condemn another's life. Child. Let the church say amen, okay? Let the church say amen. Put amen in the chat, honey, okay? Do you understand how we could change the world just by simply following this rule in our daily lives? God, I could just imagine just this simple rule. How would our world change, y'all? Like, seriously. And I don't think this is like a pipe dream. I mean, granted, right? We're thinking about things on a spiritual level, then we know that there are demonic influences out there, right? That thrive on, right? And it's their job to create this confusion and all of this chaos, right? But if we think about how many of us are out there that will totally do this, right? Like, totally, I totally respect you. And you don't have to do anything for me to respect you. You don't have to give me anything in return, right? My respect for you is just innate. It's just gonna happen. Because I believe this. Like this is really just who I am. Right? Right? And there are a lot of us who is just like, this is just who we are. We don't have to have a rule to tell us this. We don't have to. It's just like, everybody deserves respect. Like, this is like, you know? But just think about, even if this didn't come natural to a person, if they just heard this and they were like, yeah, I mean, it's not that hard. I mean, yeah, everybody is a human being. I want respect, so let me just give respect. I mean, it's really not that hard. So, like, share this video, right? Because think about if we could just grasp this concept, more of us, how we would change things. Let me keep reading. This is a rule. Let me just read that part again. Do you understand how we could change the world just by simply following this rule in our daily lives? This is a rule that flows from the spiritual realm and is chock full of lessons in discernment. But for some people, including those who are in positions of authority and power, this rule will never be incorporated into their daily lives because it is not part of their belief system. Once again, they're just not going to do it. But that doesn't have anything to do with me, though, right? Like, I can still do it. I'm just knowing, right? I'm just understanding that there are religious narcissists out there. There are narcissists out there. That there is a spiritual force that doesn't want this to happen, doesn't want us respecting one another, doesn't want us dignifying one another. Doesn't want that. But that doesn't mean that I can't still be that person, right? This doesn't mean that I can't still give you respect. I mean, I'm even going to respect the religious narcissist. I'm even going to respect the narcissist because guess what? They're a human being too. And it doesn't demand that they change. It's knowing, right? It's a knowing that they're not gonna, okay? But that doesn't have anything to do with me. That doesn't mean that I have to lessen my respect and my dignity and my stance, right? And my foundation and what I believe because of them. Let's continue. Said differently, some people start with the mindset that not everyone is deserving of respect. As a result, these people will continue to encounter and or create negative and life-threatening situations when they encounter others due to their behavior and overall thought process. They just not going to do, right? And that's a knowing, right? That's a discerning that we all need to have. Okay? The thought process I'm referring to is the incredulous belief that certain human lives are more valuable than others. Let's provide a scenario to make this point more tangible. For example, if you believe that I, as a female, am not deserving of respect because of my gender, your thought process will dictate that you will not treat me with respect no matter what I say or do if we have an encounter. Such a thought process is tragic. In fact, I find no other thought process more dangerous than this one. And on a global scale, persons with such mindsets create and implement policies that have caused and will continue to cause the senseless death of millions. This is why our world will continue to experience unnecessary conflict and strife that will be perpetuated from generation to generation. This type of mindset and belief system, my friends, is about as far away from discernment as you can possibly get. Think about it. Think about it. There is a hole. There is a thing known as black femicide. And if you've watched my previous videos, especially when I was doing a review of Princella the Queenmaker's videos, right? She had on there a man who was promoting the killing of black women. Just think about that, y'all. Like really think about that. And it's just like it's a sad world that we live in, that discernment is something that is within all of our grasp, right? It's already something that was given it to us as at birth, right? But how many of us actually use it? And then the simple fact that a lot of us have to increase our discernment skills just so that we can be safe from the people who don't use their discernment skills. Think about that. That I have to be, as a woman, as a black woman, more discerning of the situations and people that I'm around or that I could possibly be around or interact with, because they don't discern. They don't have discernment. And because they believe that just because I'm a woman, because I'm a black woman, that I somehow deserve to die. Think about that. Discernment, you guys, is you can't afford to live in this world today without it. You can't. You simply can't. You simply cannot. And it's not just me. It's not just black women. It's all women. It's children. Think about the trafficking rings that are happening. Because there are people out there that believe that children do not deserve dignity and respect, that their bodies don't even belong to them. Y'all, like, what in the world? And the fact of the matter is, y'all, and I'm going to keep on saying this till I'm blue in the doggone face, and I'm a black woman, so y'all know I ain't finna get blue. Okay? So I'm going to keep on saying it. You cannot live in this world today without discernment. You must activate this gift that you were already given. You already have it. You already have it. And you have to practice it. You have to put this into action in everyday situations. I am a discernment and relationship coach. Okay. And there is no more, discernment is most important in relationships, in our interactions with other people. Because guess what? A person who is not discerning, a person who does not believe in this golden rule that every human being deserves dignity and respect, what did R.L. Mako say? They are dangerous. They are dangerous because they simply do not respect you. You are simply an object to be used and abused and discarded at their will. And that is not what you were created for. That is not why you were created. And I don't care who you believe in, whether you believe in God, whether you believe in Jesus, or whether you don't, whether you have some other creator, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Whoever, whatever created you, you are deserving of dignity and respect. Period. There is no other qualifications that you need to have. None. You cannot afford to live in this world without discernment. Period. So I hope that as we progress in this series of discernment, that you are taking this seriously. This is a life-saving skill. Do you hear me? This is a life-saving skill that you simply cannot afford to live without. You simply will not live without it. You won't. If you are not discerning, you will be taken out of here. If you are not making better decisions about the situations and the people that you are around and you interact with, there are people dying every day because they do not discern. Okay? So, this is where we're going to end today. We are still on chapter 2. And chapter 2 was discernment and spirituality. So we are about halfway through that chapter. And so when we get back, the next part that we're going to start is the key to upholding the golden rule. Okay, the key to upholding the golden rule. The key to upholding the golden rule. And if you are a woman who is watching, share this with men. If you are a man watching this video, share this video with women. Share this video with somebody. Okay? Because if we can just spread this message of the golden rule, think about how much better our world would be. Let me read it again. Do you understand how we could change the world just by simply following this rule, the golden rule, in our daily lives? Okay? I love you guys. Remember, you are important to me. I need you to survive. And this is true, you guys. And you survive and you thrive when you have discernment. when you use discernment. Okay? So go ahead and like the video, share the video, and remember, you guys, I have an ebook out that's called The Religious Narcissist Decoded, and it is discernment.
Okay, I'm gonna cut it off right there since that book is not available right now. So what did you think? Oh, excuse me, y'all. Oh, you guys tired. What did you think of that? I could listen to discernment stuff all day. Like I have several ebooks, several audiobooks, print books. Like it's serious for me. Like discernment is like that. Yeah, it's like your secret weapon. Like your secret weapon, your special gift. You know, and I feel so blessed to be able to talk about it, to teach it, and to really, like I said, be your partner in this. Like your discernment partner. And I used to say, like, I don't tell you how to think, but yeah, I kind of do, right? Tell you how to use your discernment to make better decisions, but not what to think. Just how to process information, how to dissect information, how to sift through the noise. There's so much information out there, and not all information is, pertinent to your decision. Sometimes we're just kind of like inundated with so much information that it's really hard to sift through all of it to determine what's real, what's, false, what's deception, what's lies, what's truth, you know. But that's what discernment helps you with. So while you're hearing all these things on the news or in conversations and, things that you grew up believing or things that you were taught growing up, discernment helps you to sift through all of it, and take out what you need from it. Not everything needs to be discarded. Like, let's say you're, like how they say a broke clock is right twice a day, right? Um, and it's a figure of speech to say that, not every thing that you hear is wrong. Not every person is wrong. Like sometimes a person can say something that's true. But what we have a tendency to do is say, well, because that person said something that was true once or twice, then I can trust everything they say. But discernment teaches you differently. So that everything that anyone says, any information that you take in, needs to be sifted through. In the military, I learned this phrase. The phrase goes, "Trust but verify." So yeah, like I might trust what you say for until I can go and verify the information. But the point is that you have to verify, not just trust. And sometimes you can wait to trust until you verify. You know, your discernment process is your discernment process. But use discernment in everything that you do, and you really cannot go wrong. Discernment doesn't hurt people. Now, some people may claim that they're being hurt by your discernment, but it's not. That's another deception. When you really look into it and you're trying to make the best decision, you have people trying to rush you to make a decision, to make the decision that they want you to make. They try to manipulate you, deceive you, lie to you. And discernment, when you really just own it, then you're just like, nope, I'm gonna let my discernment process play out first before I make a decision. And who can argue with that? And if they do argue with that, then you already know something, right? Like you already know, like, no. Because if this was a good idea, then you would allow me to do my process of making sure that it's a good idea, that it's a good move for me, that this is a good relationship for me, that this is a good way to spend my money, that this is a good place for me to go to. You know, use discernment in every area of your life. So I'm gonna let y'all go. I have just a few more parts of this that I want to work on, but I'm not gonna be. Let me see. Let me see where we are in the video process. Okay, we did discernment spirituality just now. Oh, so we got another discernment and spirituality, and this one's talking about the upholding the golden rule, y'all. If I remember correctly, this was a good one, but this is like an hour and 43 minutes, so that's going to be good for us to start out our next writing session with this video, discernment and spirituality. So let's make a plan that when we come back, probably tomorrow, well, later today because it's already 3 a.m. where I am. So when we come back later on, excuse me. Oh my God. I'm sorry, y'all. I hope I don't make y'all yawn. But when we come back tomorrow, we're going to talk about discernment and spirituality and upholding the golden rule. And we're still on chapter 2 here in the book. So let me go ahead and put it on this video. So, hey, y'all. Okay. So we know this is where we're going to start off when we come back, okay? And this, again, is a book review of a book reading and review of A Yearn to Discern by R.L. Mako. You can find these episodes on my YouTube page, Delores, the Pastor's Daughter. When you go over there, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. I told you guys that I am doing a rebranding, but all of these videos will still be available to you on that page. So make sure that you go ahead and subscribe, and you can peruse like all the videos that I have. I have podcast playlists, video playlists, and all that good stuff over there on Delores, the Pastor's Daughter YouTube page. So yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. And again, in the chat, let me know what you're working on. Let me know what you're creating so that I can be your accountability partner, send you some great creative energy, and just know that your girl is here for you, okay? And that you are important to me. I need you to survive. Okay, y'all. Love you. Bye-bye for now.